Okay, welcome to the second episode of Baseball at its Finest. This is season 1, episode 2. I'm here with my good buddy, Max Stromer. He's on my phone. I'm calling him right now as we speak. Say hello to the people at home.
Hello, viewers. How are you guys doing?
There he is. That's the man himself, Max Stromer. So, this is the baseball show. I don't know how many of you guys listened to our first episode as well, but this show is called Baseball at its Finest, and it's about baseball. Well, there's a shocker. We talk all things baseball. We're going to start by recapping everything, all the games that have gone down today. We'll start with some games that are already final, and we'll work our way up. We're going to end with each of our two favorite teams, so it's going to be his favorite team goes second last, my favorite team goes last. So we'll do that, but other than that, we'll just check out some games. So we'll start. Rays beat the Orioles. Shocker. Orioles, 100th loss of the season. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors to 14 runs on 10 hits and no errors. That's crazy. Blake Snell with his 18th win, and Dylan Bundy picks up his 14th loss to go with 7 wins. Anything you gotta say on that game before we move on, Max Stromer?
Not much, just that both of these teams are at the bottom of their division. Surprisingly, the Rays, that is quite an affair. Alright, now that was a good game for the Rays, but there's no chance that they are making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's not really their fault. It's more that how good their division is.
Not to mention their
fight in the wild card game, but even if they did win the wild card game, they would get clapped in the first round because it's the other team's 1, 2, 3 going up against your 2, 3, 4, which is most likely just gonna be 3 starts by Sergio Romo, and then after that, Ryan Yarbrough will come in and give up 5 runs in an inning and a third. So they're really not in a good position because they only have 1 starter, and also they're in the best division in baseball. So even if they didn't make the playoffs, they would not do well. Next game, Phillies topped the Mets 4-3. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors to 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. The win to Nola, the loss to Bachelor, the save to Hunter, his 4th. What you got on this game?
just that the Phillies are what is hot in their division now that the Braves aren't doing so well and are in a slump. The Mets, as you all know, they are one of the worst teams in their division. So a good game for the Phillies as they come through this home stretch and getting even closer to the postseason.
Yeah, I agree, but as a Braves fan, it's sad to see them because they're one of the streakiest teams in baseball. But I mean, you don't get to choose that kind of thing, and they're not playing very well. The team they're playing is playing very well. By the way, while we read each game, or talk about each game, I will read you the 2 Roberto Clemente members from that game. So for the first game, that was the Rays' Malik Smith, who, by the way, in my opinion, is the best player of all time. But that's a story for maybe later in this show. We'll see. But Malik Smith is the Braves nominee. And then they played the Orioles. And the nominee for the Orioles was Chris Davis. Chris with the C, Davis. Only time he will ever win an award until, never. He's bad. Next game, we had Rhys Hoskins of the Phillies as their nominee. Oh, by the way, another game just went final. No, we'll get to that in a second. It was the Brewers and Giants. So, yeah. What was I saying? Where were we? I was saying
Alberto Clemente nominee for the Mets.
Okay, so the Mets. Was it the Mets? Yes, it was.
You said Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, okay.
For the Phillies.
Steven Matz was the Mets nominee. Let's get into this next game. The Pirates beat the Marlins. It's more surprising that the Pirates won than the Marlins lost, because I believe that the Pirates are not that good of a team, and for some reason I've always hated the Pirates. Anyways, 3 runs, 7 hits for the Marlins, 5 runs, 9 hits for the Pirates. Neither team recorded an error. Rodriguez got the win for the Pirates, 4-2 with a 2.70 ERA, while Guerrero took the loss. He moves to 1-3 with an ERA over 5. Velasquez, his 31st save. He's one of the best closers in baseball, in my opinion. But what's your opinion on this whole game, Max?
Well, I agree with you. Both of these teams are doing really poor. The Marlins 56 and 85, and the Pirates 70 and 71. Now, these Pirates, I haven't seen them as good as they were on that streak ever. That was the best and final time that they would have been good this season. Not much to really about this game. Just a very poor matchup from both of these teams.
Yeah, the Martin Prado was the nominee for the Marlins. I don't think he's even played this year. While your nominee from the Pirates was Mr. Jameson Taillon over there. So, can't really act like they're good, because they're not, but hey, every team has to have a nominee. There's their team's nominees, what can I say? So let's get to this next game. We have the Mariners. Oh, by the way, those are all the games that have gone final, I think. No, there's a couple more, but we'll get to those in a second. Oh, no, we won't. Blue Jays beat the Indians in 11. 3 runs, 9 hits for the Indians, or for the Blue Jays. 2 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the Indians. Barnes got the win. He moves to 3-2 with a 5.45 ERA. Adam Cimber takes his first loss since joining the club with a 5.11 ERA. Anything you got to say about this one?
I don't have to talk about this game, but I have to talk about this Indians team. Now, I don't think that the Josh Donaldson trade was worth it, because as soon as they placed him on a contract, he got injured, so he will not be playing anytime soon. Not to mention he becomes a free agent, so it's kind of a worthless trade for a team that's already doing really well. As star players, Francisco Lindor, Jason Kipnis, and Jose Ramirez continue to be good.
Yeah, I don't know how much they had to give up for him, but it doesn't look like they're going to get, if anything, much out of him. So I hope they didn't give up too much, because if so, they put themselves in a really bad position. Let's get on to our next final game. This was sad for me to watch because for some reason, I'm a White Sox fan. I'm not really a White Sox fan. I'm more of a Yoan Moncada and Yolmer Sanchez fan. And the White Sox lost again to the Angels, who have a lot of news that we will get to later regarding Mr. Shohei Ohtani. But they lost 5-2, 5 runs, 9 hits to 2 runs, 8 hits, and an error. Win to Pena, lost to Rodon. Although he took his 5th loss of the year, moves to 6-5, a 3.11 ERA, which is very solid, especially considering we're talking about a team with 56 wins. So that was a good outing for them, but couldn't win. Obviously, that's what it comes down to. So we'll see how they can do tomorrow. Angels, yeah. What do you got on this game?
Just about nothing. We'll touch base about this Angels team later, as you said, about Shohei Ohtani, but I don't get why you're a White Sox fan. Could you explain?
Yolmer Sanchez and Yoan Moncada have the 2 best names I've ever heard. So I'm more of a fan of those two players than a fan of that team, to be honest. But yeah, that's why.
Okay, that answered my question.
To our next game, Tigers beat the Cardinals. I don't know how that happened because the Tigers are trash, let's be honest, and the Cardinals are less trash. Let's be honest there too. So that was interesting and something I didn't expect, but Candelario hit a walk-off ding-dong to give them the lead once and for all. Well, it was a walk-off, so yeah. 3 runs, 6 hits, and an error for the Cardinals, while the 5-run, 8-hit Tigers won the game off no errors. So, good on them. Let's get anything you got on this one. Oh, by the way, Shane Green with the win. Good for him. Jordan Hicks, the hard-throwing righty. I like him, but he got the loss today. Anything you got to say on that game?
You see, this is games like this that I don't really care for, and I have to wonder what is going on. Like the Cardinals, they have a winning record, unlike the Tigers, who are 30 games behind, getting a winning record. So I don't understand how they could lose this one. I mean, I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, one thing it's really weird because, like, you kind of don't get why one of the teams is trying, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't get how the other team lost, whether or not the first team was trying. So yeah. Now, I'm going to go back and mention the players from these last couple games that are the Roberto Clemente nominees. So, the Toronto Blue Jays nominee is one by the name of Kevin Pillar. You see him making diving catches left and right and putting his body on the line, which I do not think is a good idea. But apparently it's enough to make him a Roberto Clemente nominee. Now, let's get to Cleveland. Cleveland is Carlos Carrasco. I don't really care about Carlos Carrasco, so we're just going to move on. White Sox, Jose Abreu. I don't really know why, but okay, I like him. He's a good person, I guess. Now, Andrew Heaney of the Angels. I don't think he's even pitched this year, so I don't know what he's doing on this list, but apparently something. Now, Tigers nominee is, let's see, what's the Tigers nominee? The Tigers nominee is Michael Fulmer. He also hasn't really played this year, but at least he's the best player on that team. That makes me feel a little better. The Cardinals, I don't really care about the Cardinals either, but there's Yadier Molina, who, for some reason, I feel like it's not the first time he's been nominated for that, but that's also a story for a different time. Now, any of those, like, 6 or 8 teams or whatever it was, do you have an opinion on any of them, or should we move on?
Nothing really. We'll get into injuries later as the Yadier Molina gets injured and put on the DL. But let's get into some games that are currently going on.
I think we have a couple more games that win final. Yeah. So, 2 more is that? Yeah. 2 more games that are final. Well, actually, no. 1 more game that's final. The Brew Crew beat the Giants, which doesn't really surprise me. 4 runs, 3 hits, and an error for the Brewers. 2 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Giants. Josh Hader getting the win. I really like Josh Hader. Hunter Strickland, you're an idiot. You're a bum. Nobody likes you. Gets the loss. Jeremy Jeffries with his 9th save. Anything you got on this one?
The Brewers are good. The Giants are not good. Let's just face it. I know you're from the Bay Area, but they are not the team to be cheering for right now.
I done faced it already. They are trash. They need to get better. There's so many things wrong with that team that I think they need to work on before they can consider trying to make a run at the playoffs at this point in the career of a lot of their stars. The Roberto Clemente winners are Buster Posey. What a shocker. He's the best player there. I don't really know what he did, but probably something good because he's the only one on the team that can do something good, as evident to their 68-74 record. For the Brewers, it was Corey Knebel. He did not pitch today, I don't think. Hader got the win, and Jeffries got the save. Those are the two other closers. They're the only team in the league with 3 closers. I like how they said that Jeremy Jeffries was going to stop closing, and they used him like 3. He's gotten like 3 or 4 saves since then. But it really makes sense that they put him in against the Giants, because if you're going to get a save against anybody, it's going to be the Giants. Now, one hitter for the Mariners. That game is in the 5th. Paxton is currently giving up those 4 runs. So anything you got to say on this ball game? By the way, Tanaka's going for the Yankees. But anything you got to say on that one?
I have to talk about this team, the Mariners. Now, this is a team that is struggling. Like a lot of other teams in the division, they have the pieces, but they do not keep putting them in the right places. Like Robinson Cano, he has been suspended. I don't think this is his first time, I believe, but he has definitely got to figure out what he is doing in baseball. If he's all he's going to do is get suspended. They have Kyle Seager. I think his brother's better. The Yankees, they have pieces, but they aren't using them wisely. As Aaron Judge is injured, not much you can do about that. But Andrew McCutchen, I think he has been not that good ever since the trade. But then again, it's Andrew McCutchen. He was way better off in Pittsburgh.
I would have to agree there. I'm a Giants fan. I had to sit through a half a year of Andrew McCutchen, and it's not his fault. But he did not play as well as he did with Pittsburgh. So good on Pittsburgh. You got rid of him at the right time. Anyways, let's get to our next game. Roberto Clemente candidates. CC Sabathia for the Yankees and for the Seattle Mariners, who nobody really cares about except Wilson Kahn, Nelson Cruz. Dodgers and Rockies. Dodgers lead the Rockies. 4 runs on 7 hits to 2 runs on 6 hits. And an error for the Rockies. O just entered the game to pitch. Sang Hwan O is facing Matt Barnes as we speak. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. 2-2 count. That game is in the 7th. What do you have to say about that one?
The Dodgers and the Rockies. Now, this is what everybody's been talking about mostly today. The Rockies and the Dodgers, the hunt for first place in the NL West. The Rockies are ahead of them by a couple games. The Dodgers, if they win this, though, they have nothing to worry about. This is a good game going for the Dodgers. Not so much for the Rockies, but then again, when you have clutch players like Carlos Gonzalez and Nolan Arenado, you can put something up. Not to mention Trevor Story hit that 505-foot bomb the other day. Did you see that?
I heard about it. Doesn't really surprise me seeing some of the things he's been able to do this year. That's crazy. But yeah, Kershaw got the start against John Gray. Kershaw has gone 6. He's still in technically pitching, but we don't know if he will come out for the 7th. 2 Roberto Clemente nominees are Justin Turner. Good on him. I like Justin Turner. I remember I saw him at spring training once before he came into the MLB. I also saw him when he was on the Padres before he got good. So I've been a Justin Turner fan from the beginning, and you know that I'm a real Justin Turner fan because I hate the Dodgers. And Ian Desmond is the nominee for the Rockies. So, let's get to our next game. It was the Twins is the Twins and the Royals. Nobody really cares, so let's try to make this quick. But the Twins are up 9-6. I'm pretty sure they're up 10-6 against the Rangers last week. So they have something with scoring runs on Fridays and giving up slightly less runs on that Friday. So they're currently up 9-6. That game's in the 7th. I doubt neither pitcher went 5 innings. By the way, your nominees are Joe Mauer for your Twins, and the Kansas City Royals nominee is Danny Duffy. As I was saying about the starters, Gonzalez for the Twins went 2 1/3, which is actually terrible, on 5 runs. So he's the reason that the Twins are the Twins. While Phil Meyer went 2 1/3 on 6 runs. And he is the reason that the Royals are the Royals. So, as I said, I doubted either pitcher went 5 innings. Wasn't even close. They combined barely went 5 innings. So, let's see. What do you got to say on that game?
All I have to say is the Twins have a better record than the Royals. This is weird, but then again, both of these teams are really bad. Let's get into one of these games that is still going on, the Braves and the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are ahead by 3. Ronald Acuna Jr. just flied out to deep right to A.J. Pollock.
Yeah,
Goldschmidt's... What do you guys say about this one, Drew?
Goldschmidt's having himself a ball game. Camargo has the only run for the Braves. Goldschmidt has hit a dinger, scored a second run, and is balling out 2 for 2. He's due up in this next inning. So they could be in a little bit of trouble there. Some deep doo-doo, as I like to call it. But it's sad to see the Braves losing. I was talking about them at the beginning of the show being one of the streakiest teams in baseball. And Braves are my favorite team, so that's really sad to see. But it's okay. It's alright. It's okay. I still love you anyway. Just get good. Soon enough, you will be tough. Yay! That's my little ting that nobody really wanted to hear. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors, to 4 runs, 7 hits, also no errors. Nominees for these teams are the Goldschmidts of Diamondback and the Suzuki's of Braveland. So that's that. Do you have anything on this game?
I know I'm just getting under the paint, but Ender and Ciarte got ejected for arguing balls and strikes.
Yeah, and Adam Duvall is now in left field, and Acuna Jr. moved over to center, which didn't make much sense to me because he is not exactly a sufficient fielding left or right fielder yet. Why are you going to try to put him in center? I guess their goal is make him a Ben Zobrist so he knows how to play all 3 positions, but he's not that good at any of them, which may be a good strategy, but I think you should perfect one position first. So, you got anything on that?
Nope, you said it all. You're a Braves fan. I did not want to add on to the pain. But let's get into another favorite team to lift off that pain. Your favorite team from the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics.
They're only my favorite team because the only other option is the San Francisco Giants, who suck. The A's just gave up a 2-run homer, but you know I don't care because it was Joey Gallo, the best player of all time. I love Joey Gallo. Second best, Mallex Smith is better than him. But Joey Gallo, I love you, Joey Gallo. He's literally like my favorite Rangers player ever. I can't believe that I get to be in the same life as him because he hits 180, but every time he puts the ball in play, it goes over the fence. He's so funny to watch. Once a series, he'll hit a home run, but that will be one of his 2 hits that series to go with 3 walks. So I really enjoy talking about Joey Gallo. How about you?
Yep, he is one of the best players on this team. This Rangers team is a young team, so what do you expect? Joey Gallo is all you got. Adrian Beltre most likely to retire this off season, so that is one of the best veterans to ever play third base. He will most likely retire, so he most likely is going to be. That is most likely going to be an emotional loss for the Rangers. But it's not emotional for you right now because you are an A's fan and they're winning right now.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about the A's in that little spiel I just did. The A's, they look very good. Laureano going yard, Simeon going yard, Chapman with the big single. We've seen a lot of good stuff out of him. By the way, the two candidates from these teams are Beltre again because Beltre is just nominated every year. And then from your Oakland Athletics, Chad Pinder. Now, I bet $10 you don't know who Chad Pinder is because if I wasn't a diehard baseball fan that lived in the Bay Area, I wouldn't either. And that's totally fine because he doesn't really mean anything. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Adrian Beltre did not get nominated. He should have. The nominee from the Texas Rangers was Cole Hamels, which is stupid because he's not even on the team anymore. Just tells you how bad of people live in the Texas Rangers organization. So yeah, I don't really care about that game very much. Let's get into. Well, you had anything on that game?
Nope.
Let's get into the next game. The Reds are winning by a lot. That's crazy. 4-10 do the Reds lead. Kennedy went 1 2/3 on 4 runs for the Padres, and guess what? A Padres pitcher got the loss. No way! Yes way! Of course he got the loss. DeSclafani went 4 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. He's not in line for the win. Michael Lorenzen will most likely be the person to get the win by scorebooker's decision or whatever that is called. I don't really care. But yeah, 10-4 lead for the Reds. Good on them, as I like to say. You got anything on this game?
It's a really surprising affair. Both of these teams really bad. Both of them are in the 50s in the win column, which is sad. But then again, look who you're looking at, the Reds and the Padres. One of two of the worst organizations in the National League.
See, I kind of respectfully disagree. I don't think that the Padres are that bad at, things, their strategy. The execution isn't very good, though. I think, to get good, what you have to do is you got to build through the draft, obviously. If you look through their lineup and you see a lot of guys that look like they've been coming up through the draft. You see Renfroe, you see Reyes, you see Margot, you see, what's his name, with the outfielder dude, that's Jankowski, the fast dude, yeah, him. So you see a lot of guys that I think can be good pieces. They just haven't drafted perfectly. And so even if you have Eric Hosmer, Will Myers, Freddie Galvis, you need a couple more pieces. Maybe they could get that this offseason. We're going to talk on some free agents later in the episode, but can't help you. Oof, it's tough. It's tough out here. I'm just going to quickly, we're not going to talk about this game, but Cubs Nationals is delayed in the 2nd inning. So other than that, I think we might have made it through. Is that it? No. We definitely have one more. I just want to make sure that we only have one more. We only have one more. The Astros and your favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. Now, I hate to be the breaker of bad news, but the Astros beat the Red Sox. Ryan Presley beat Joe Kelly 2-1 for Presley, 4-2 for Kelly. Osuna with his 14th save. Astros get their 88th win. Red Sox get their 97th win, 45th loss to go with 97 wins. So they didn't really need to win this game because the Astros suck compared to them. Anyways, nobody really, actually no, you do care about this game. I don't, because I don't care about either of these teams. So what do you got to say about this? Because I don't want to talk.
Well, I'm just happy that the Red Sox did not lose to the Yankees. Okay, that is a team that's worse than the Red Sox. But, I mean, it's the Astros. What can you do about it? They're good.
Yeah, sometimes it's going to have to happen to you. When the Astros have a good day like that, they can beat anybody. We're officially complete. Now let's just give a little recap on not just yesterday, but we got to also recap the last week, what we've seen, because if we just recap what happens every Friday, you're not really going to be helped much. So we're going to try to give you a better big picture of how these teams are doing. The Red Sox are 7-3 in their last 10. The Yankees are 4-6 in their last 10. The Rays are 7-3 in their last 10. The Blue Jays are 4-6 in their last 10. The Orioles are 4-6 in their last 10. So in the last 10, the standings are Rays, Red Sox, Orioles, Blue Jays, Yankees. In the last 10 games. That's interesting. Now, let's go to the Central Division. Indians 5-5, Twins 2-8, and their only 2 wins in the last 10 games are the 2 games they've played on Friday that we have told you. Oh, never mind. The game today hasn't gone final. But one of their 2 wins was the game last Friday. Then 5-5 for the Tigers, 4-6 for the White Sox, and a surprising 7-3 for the Royals. I don't know why they decided now's a good time to start winning, but apparently, so we are going to look here, and that would make the standings Royals, Tigers, Indians, White Sox, Twins. That's interesting. The West, 5-5 for the A's, 7-3 for the Astros, 4-6 for the Mariners, 6-4 for the Angels, 3-7 for the Rangers. That's the exact same amount of wins as losses right there. But the standings are pretty much what they should be, with one exception. It is Astros, Angels, A's, Mariners, Rangers. So basically, if the Angels pass the Mariners and the A's, this would be their last 10 games are the same as what it usually is. But sadly, you can't do that. Now, let's get to the worst division in the last 10 games in baseball. 4-6 for the Braves, 4-6 for the Phillies, 4-6 for the Nationals, 5-5 for the Mets, 3-7 for the Marlins. As you can see, the best team in that division is the Marlins. Nope, I'm joking. That was funny.
I hope you are.
But the best team in that division in the last 10 games is the Mets, actually, which is almost as funny. Then you'll see Nationals, Phillies, Braves. Marlins are last, but only 2 games back. Or, I don't know how games back exactly works. Either 1 or 2 games back. They're pretty close. Way too close. The Cubs are 6-4 in the last 10. Brewers are 7-3. Cardinals are 5-5. Pirates are 6-4. Reds are 3-7. This division's pretty good. But we'll go first to last. Brewers are first. That's 7-3. Then you have the Cubs, then Cardinals. Cubs, then Pirates, then Cardinals, then Reds. Pretty good division there. Let's get to our last division. For the record, the Giants are last again. So 6-4 for the Rockies, who lead the division. 7-3 for the Dodgers in second. 3-7 for the Diamondbacks and Giants. And then 6-4 for the Padres, which is surprising. So that would make it Dodgers, Rockies, Padres, Rockies, Giants, Diamondbacks, and that's going to wrap it up. So, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a second with some more. We're going to have a little more conversation, and we're not going to have a slate of games. So, goodbye. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Baseball at its Finest, Season 1, Episode 2. I hope you like the short commercial break. That's one of my strengths. I hit commercial breaks too. I watch tons of TV, and I know that it's just the worst when you're watching your favorite show, and you have to stop for 15 minutes and watch an infomercial about how to make sure your CPAP system is clean so you don't choke in the middle of the night because I don't have a CPAP system. So let's get back to it. Sorry if you have a CPAP system and that was offensive, but I'm just saying. Let's get back into it. So we finished all the games and recapping how teams did. Now we're going to hand it over to Max. He's going to lead a section on what we've seen in terms of the injury front in the last week. So, Max, take it away.
So, I know all the people are wondering about these injuries, and I'm going to give you the best. Starting off with Shohei Ohtani. Now, this is interesting because he has had more than one break from pitching, and now his doctor is recommending him to do Tommy John surgery, which is weird because they said he was cleared to hit, so I'm like confused.
Well, I think you don't exactly need to be able to like have a good arm to hit. So, especially if your swing isn't too violent. So, I think he'll be able to get away with it.
Yeah, well, anyway, he hit his 19th home run today.
Out here, big balling.
We also, this is an injury that you guys might not know of this player. No, this is a number 13 prospect who plays for the White Sox. He is likely going to have Tommy John, which is going to hurt this White Sox team. And it's already hurt. So that isn't going to help them, of course. Let's see. Oh, I know all you guys are wondering. Aaron Judge, will he be back soon? I think that he will be able to play in the postseason, but we will have to wait and see how his recovery is going. Corey Seager, he is out for the season. Boston, we have an interesting injury there. Dustin Pedroia.
I don't think that matters.
You guys have forgot about him because Ian Kinsler has taken his spot at second base. Just to recap, you guys, Dustin Pedroia was the starting second baseman for the Red Sox back in 2013 when they won the World Series. You got to touch base on that? True?
Not really. I don't care for Dustin Pedroia, so I don't really need to touch base on him. You can keep going. This is your strong suit. I'll let you have this one.
Okay, let's get back into these injuries. Now, this isn't really an injury, but in the middle of Orioles pre-game warm-ups, David Hess was throwing a football. Now, that hit his head, so he most likely will be out for a couple games for concussion protocol. Now, I find that really silly, but then again, he was throwing a football. Obviously, it's not the same as a baseball, which he was probably thinking it would be. So he got hurt.
Bruh, only the Orioles, though. Or only the Orioles would hurt themselves after getting hit in the head with a football during a game. Like, what the heck? He wore an LSU helmet to the game. That's the best thing that's ever happened to the Orioles. I'm sorry. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. Nolan Arenado is going to be put on the DL, I believe, for just a couple of days. He has shoulder pain in his right shoulder. Now, this injury happened mid-season, but it is funny to me. Jacoby Ellsbury, yes, the Yankees center fielder. I know most of you guys forgot about him, and I'll tell you why. He has not played one game since this year, and then he got injured. So he is not playing a game in 2018 if you guys were hoping he would. Now, the Dodgers, they have a lot of injuries. Ross Stripling, he is activated. Chris Sale, one of the AL starting pitchers, the best, he is going to be cleared for Tuesday. And let's get further into some of these injuries. Let me touch base with the Chris Sale. He was feeling some pain in his, I don't really know where, but he threw his sidearm. I mean, he's going to get injured, but he will be activated from the disabled list on Tuesday. Let's see what he got injured for. It was mild inflammation on his left shoulder. He was placed on the 10-day DL on July 31st, and he was coming back he made his first start on August 12th, and then he went back on the DL with the same diagnosis on August 18th, and this will be bad if he gets injured more than once. Drew, do you have to touch base on any of this?
Well, this is a really tough time into the season to get injured. We saw them fall to the Astros today. I think they're in a good position if anybody is, but it's always tough when you're deep in a season. You just started September, which means you get the extra 10 players, but you really want to utilize them to the best of your ability. In having your all-star and Cy Young candidate get injured as soon as you are supposed to be making that last final push is really tough. So that's all I gotta say on that. You probably have a stronger opinion because you're a bigger fan of this team than I am, but that's all I gotta say.
I mean, it's an injury. You play 162 games in a season plus postseason. I mean, you are most likely to get injured. And Chris Sale, he's done with a lot of injuries. So, hopefully this does not lead to further as it already has. Now, that is all the injuries I have for today, this week of baseball at its finest. But I want to tell you guys about the 2019 MLB free agents. Now, Drew and I are going to give you the best of free agents as we do on every segment we do. So, I am going to name a player, and he is going to say who he thinks he is going to, if he thinks that that guy is going to be signed by a team. Now, I'm going to be starting with one of the best pitchers of all time, Clayton Kershaw. Drew, who do you think he's going to get picked up by?
I think that the best teams for him, I obviously think there's a very strong chance that he stays where he is. But if he were to leave, I think that we'll definitely find him in a place that is more likely to contend if he's going to leave this place with a ton of money and a ton of contention. So I think we'll see him on the East Coast. We could see him with the Red Sox. We could see him with the Yankees. But maybe with the Astros. Actually, Astros have a pretty big payroll. But, yeah. I think that if he's going to leave this dream situation, he's going to have to go somewhere with success and money. So that would be a top team in the league for him to go to.
Okay. Now, this has been one of the most controversial players in the league, Bryce Harper. Now, I personally don't think that he will get picked up in the beginning of the offseason, but closer to the beginning of the season. What do you think?
I do agree. There's 3 teams that I think have a real good bid after Bryce Harper. I mean, my first team is a team that obviously this is a favorite, I think. They've got big payrolls. They've got best friends. You know I'm talking about the Chicago Cubs. Now, I don't know how many of us have heard the story about how Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant were both friends from Las Vegas, played on the same travel ball team. They basically grew up together. Now, that story is factual, and it is true that being good friends, he would want to now go there. So, I think that is definitely a top destination. The second place I think he might go is the one thing that I think Bryce Harper is missing on every team he's played on is a guy that is gonna help him become more like, what am I trying to say? More effective player. And I think how you get him to be more effective is you give him a teammate that is as good a hitter as he is. Now, name a hitter on a team that needs other hitters around him.
Chris Bryant.
No. He has this guy named Anthony Rizzo. Mike Trout does. The Angels are LA. They can create a lot of revenue. And because the MLB has no salary cap, you can spend as much money as you would like to. So the Angels can decide, we want to get a top free agent in Bryce Harper, even if we've already spent a ton of money. And I think that he could easily end up just sneaking past everybody and going to the Angels. Now, the third team. This is a team that is going to surprise a lot of people. Now, you may think it's more reasonable after you hear what I have to say, but when I first say it, you're probably going to think that I'm smoking weed or on crack. And I think he is at least considering I think that he's considering the Colorado Rockies. The reason I think he's considering the Colorado Rockies is because they have a giant field. I don't know if you guys know that, but Coors Field is big. The reason it's a great field, though, is because ball travels very far there. So you can hit a ball. If you hit a high fly ball that would usually be a fly out to right, in Colorado, it's got a chance at going out. And that's the kind of place Bryce Harper needs. Also, when you think about it, you look around. They have Blackmon in center. They have Desmond at first. They have Story at short. They have Arenado at third. What do they not have? A good third outfielder. They have Carlos Gonzalez, who's okay enough, but they don't have three good outfielders. You can move somebody left field, whether it's Carlos Gonzalez. I think it should be Carlos Gonzalez. Or if you decide that it's better to move Harper over there, you put him in your outfield. Now you got a 2-3-4. You got 2 Trevor Story, 3 Bryce Harper, 4 Nolan Arenado. And by the way, at the top of that order sits Charlie Blackmon. Would you want to face that team?
I would not. But just to remind you, Carlos Gonzalez is going to be a free agent, so you don't have to worry about having him in the way of Bryce Harper. Now I'm interested to see your take on this. This isn't really a free agency, but I'm interested to see your take. Do you think Mike Trout will get traded this year?
No, because I think that the strategy, instead of make our team worse, is going to be to give away contract money and make our team worse, or you can bring in money, but also you'll be making your team better. What I mean by that is if you were to decide that you wanted to, what was I saying? If you wanted to make, where were we? Oh, if you wanted to make an offer at Bryce Harper, make an offer at Manny Machado, make an offer at Jacob deGrom, one of those guys, let's say he accepts. Bryce Harper accepts. I want to play with Mike Trout. So do I. Then Manny Machado's like, well, I mean, am I not going to accept to go play with the 2 best players in baseball? And what has Jacob deGrom always needed? An offense. Could he find that with 3 of the greatest players on offense right now? Yes, he could. So I think that really what's going to happen is not Mike Trout is going to end up going somewhere, but people are going to end up coming to Mike Trout. So that's just me, but I think it's something very possible. How about you?
I think it's possible. I mean, it's baseball, anything can happen. That being said, I want to hear your take on Manny Machado. Where is this guy going to go this offseason?
Manny Machado, as I said, I think he could go to Los Angeles to play on this super team of sorts. One thing that I think is a huge problem for Manny Machado is the fact that he wants to be a shortstop, but he also wants to play for a contender. And most contenders in the MLB that can pay him that kind of money, unless he went to a team like the A's and they agreed to some kind of contract where it was like 2 years, $75 million or something crazy. He's going to need every team that has a big cap and is contending most likely has a shortstop, and that's what's hard for him. He wants to be a shortstop on a team that needs a shortstop but also has enough money to pay him. And that is going to make the market really tough for him, and so I don't think he'll get signed till later than we expect of him. So that's just my perspective, though.
Okay, so let's get into one of the best left fielders in baseball at the time, Michael Brantley, the Indians left fielder. Now, This is a very interesting take. He's been in this team for a while. Do you think they will sign him again, knowing how good the chemistry with him is with all of their components they already have?
I do think they will bring him back. I mean, they have both of their left fielders leaving, so they will either need to sign another left fielder. And when you look at this list, it's not that good. It's Gardner, Brantley, Steve Pearce, Matt Joyce, Curtis Granderson, Marwin Gonzalez, Colby Rasmus, Melky Cabrera, Jason Borges, and Mike Baxter. Those are the other left fielders. So they're gonna need to sign one of those players, and they already had Michael Brantley, so everything is saying that they're gonna bring him back, and because they need a left fielder. There's no other good left fielders.
All right, now that will do it for free agency.
Let's start to wrap this thing up, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with finding what I find really funny. McCutchen, he found his luggage, and it obviously helped him as he found a power stroke, and he's helping out this team.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. My last word is the Mariners? Like, what the heck? Did you hear about their, locker room fight? They had, a locker room fight a couple days ago against the Orioles. Apparently, D. Gordon and Gene Segura got into it a little bit, but, that surprised me. That's just the last word for me. Now let's wrap this baby up. It's almost exactly 1 hour as we speak, 57 minutes. But I'm just gonna give a little shout out to myself. Not exactly a shout out to myself, but Tuesday we will have a surprise episode. I will be hosting it. I will most likely call a lot of different people during that episode, so you might be able to hear from Anthony Remedios, our newly recruited friend from SBC. You'll definitely hear from my brother Chris. You'll hear most likely from guys like Max Stromer. Maybe you'll get to hear from Sammy Bovitz, who's starting his new show soon. It's going to be a fun episode. So far, we have 5 people in the league. We have me, we have Max, we have Sammy, we have my brother, and we have Anthony Remedios. And then other than that, I think everybody might be able to invite somebody from outside this. But that's just a quick thing. I think you should tune in Tuesday for that. It will be super fun to listen to. It will be super fun to do as just as a person, as the host of that. It's my league. We're gonna have some funky rules. Everybody's gonna have a couple defenders on their team. I think it's 4 defenders. It's gonna be cool. So you should definitely tune in for that draft. It's gonna be so much fun. And it's just gonna be a pleasure to have. Now, last word for you, Max, before we really end this.
If you are viewing this and you have Instagram, go follow Baseball at its Finest. We will give you the best topic that we will be talking about weekly.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, he speaks truth to power. If you want to get some sports updates and you don't literally want to go to mainstream place, just follow ESPN or MLB or NBA or NFL. Not that we really talk about other sports, but if we were to, just come here. We talk tons of baseball. We might release something about other sports every once in a while. It's so fun to just tune into our episodes. We have a lot of fun here. We hope you enjoy our shows. Just quick shout out to Russell Tabor, Young Ginge, my brother, Eli Lesser, of course. everybody that made this show possible, and thank you so much for listening to Baseball at its Finest episode 2. Good night.